Most people think transformation happens really fast, but the entire truth is that it's actually a process and a strategy to transform the body that you currently have to where your goal is. All right, I'm going to be using myself as an example doing this video to show you guys the exact process that I took. As you can see on the videos and the photos, I am not going to gatekeep anything. I'm going to show you the exact process that I take so you can utilize it for yourself, and you can also transform your body literally within 5 months. I'm going to go through every single process from my diet to basically my training regimen. I journalize every single thing, and you can be able to use it for yourself. The process starting from the conditioning itself, the training approach, the nutrition structure, and the progressive tracking. Like I said, I track everything on my phone during this process so that I don't miss anything. I'm able to use it in the future, right? And then of course the most important thing is the mental discipline that I had throughout this entire prep. And you'll be surprised if you stay true to the end. You'll be surprised that the feeling that I had right throughout this entire process, because I was much happier. I didn't crash, and at the same time it was a smooth sail that I enjoyed the process of the show within 5 months, right? So we're gonna start off with my starting point was 248 pounds, right? And then during this process, I had to eat literally 6 meals in a day. Not everybody needs to eat 6 meals. This process was pretty simple. My goal was to balance my body itself. What that means is that I was trying to make sure that my levels are the same, meaning my protein intake, my carbs, my fats, right? And of course my hormones, everything are literally balanced the same. And this process takes about 4 weeks, right? And during this 4 weeks, on my first meal, I love to work out in the morning, so I had 2 protein shakes in cold water, creatine, glutamine, and 16 grams of almonds, right? And then meal 2 was my post-workout meal. I had 8 egg whites, 1 orange, multivitamin, 1 dish of toast. And then the same process as well. Meal 3, 8 ounces of rice, 300 grams of chicken breast, and of or whatever protein I do prefer at that time. And then vegetables as well. 3 hours later, timing really does matter when it comes to my food intake. So 3 hours later, I had 180 grams of chicken, 1 cup of potatoes or 1 full whole potatoes, 2 dates. Of course, I had my multivitamins as well during this process. I had arginine, BCAAs, L-carnitine, and creatine. I also went into the gym to do a cardio. My cardio was only 15 minutes, and after my cardio, I had a scoop of protein powder, 5 egg whites, 100 grams of beef, right, with some vegetables. And then with that, I had a carnitine, BCAAs, and that was my meal number 5. And then my night meal was 300 grams of chicken, low-fat Greek yogurt, as many as I can have. I usually have about 200 grams of that. Low-fat Greek yogurt, 20 grams of walnut, and then a bowl of salads with fruits. So, and then on top of that, I had BCAAs in the evening. So that is what I did. And when it comes to the meal part, right in the starting point, and as you can see, my body is relatively holding on to water retention and at the same time body fat. So the goal was to get to competition stage ready. And at the end of this conversation, you will be surprised where my weight was at, right, at the end of everything. With that being said, training approach. So my training approach was pretty simple. My training approach was making sure that I'm doing a lot of progressive overload when it comes to my training, and then the intensity is there. So I'm not just stopping at 6 reps, or not just stopping at 4 reps, or even 10 reps, right? I'm making sure that my walking set itself, right, it is feeling closer to the 6 reps, or closer to the 10 reps, or closer to the 4 reps, right? And then I need to repeat that at least 2-3 times during my workouts. So workouts really varies as time goes along. My process, my mental process doing that was just enjoying the workout itself. I have friends, I have people around me that wanted to work out with me, that I was training with, and I enjoyed the process of it. If you go to my Instagram, you're going to see, like, scroll down, you're going to see most of the videos that I made when it comes to me working out with most of my friends. All right, so the focus and the mental discipline during that process was, of course, I had a goal, and my goal was to step on stage, and I love to win. I love to win, right? To step on stage and look at my absolutely best. I've done competitions before, right? This one, I want to make sure that I beat my previous package and I come in with the best physique that I've ever had, okay? And during this process, I wasn't concerned about weight. My current weight was to help me determine my calories as I go along throughout this journey. But I was not concerned about my current weight. I was just concerned if I'm seeing progress when it comes to pictures. So with that being said, I do take pictures. So I took pictures every single week. Of course, I'm not going to post every single thing, but I take pictures every single week so that I know what's changing and what is not changing. So after the first balance phase, right, phase 1, I went into phase 2. Phase 2 is when I really dialed it in. Around this time, I also went on vacation. I went to Mexico, right? I went to Mexico for a week and I came back. I still continue trying to get my meals in while I was on vacation. And during this process, it was amazing because I enjoyed my time. I was still eating my meals and I still hang out with the people that I told myself I was going to hang out with, right? I basically, doing this, all of this process, I basically make sure that my training is still on point. I'm going to the gym at least 4 to 5 times a week. Take 2 days off and then repeat the same process. Cardio at this point is only about, no lie, it is literally 3 days out of the week for about 15 to 20 minutes. It's just simple cardio, just walking on the treadmill, and that is all I did, right? And halfway through the prep, I would say about December, during the holiday season, I was strict. I'm a strict person. So during the holiday season, I made sure I stick to my regimen. I still went out with my friends. I still hang out with my friends. And I still, when I went out and eat, right, the thing I will focus on is that I will tell the restaurant that I'm eating at that please do not add the extra butter, or please don't add the extra sodium on my food, right? And this is what I want. I want chicken, I want rice, I want beef, I want rice, I want vegetables. I still get to enjoy the food with my friends while I am out. And then at the same time, I make sure that the next day I'm still doing the cardio that I need to do. I'm still drinking my water on a consistent basis because I don't want to feel like I'm just bloated all the time, right? And then the other thing is that halfway through, that is when I start reducing my calories down. So around that time, phase 2, I brought my carbs down slightly. I kept my protein the same. My protein around this time was about 300 grams of protein. Like I said, I was weighing about 240 something pounds, almost 250, right? My weight was coming down as well, but my protein stays exactly the same. My carbs came down a little bit. I was substituting some of the carbs for fiber fruits. So fruits like a lot of oranges, a lot of apples, a lot of berries, and a lot of bananas. So I will utilize a lot of those things, okay? And then if I feel like I'm really hungry, I will add a big bowl of salad with my chicken, and then I'll make my own vinaigrette myself and then use it for myself. But protein intake around this time, like I said, it's about 300 grams of protein. So at this point, around, I would say January, right, my food changed again. I stopped eating red meat for about 3 or 4 weeks. And what that does is that I focus on just clean protein intake. I'm not saying that red meat is not clean, but I'm just saying that is what I did for myself, the process I used. I cut out all the red meat and I just focus on ground turkey, chicken, egg whites, and you will see the same style of structure. Protein stays the same, carbs drops a little bit, and then fiber increase so that I don't feel like I am hungry, right, all the time. Around this time as well, I focus on, we got to February. So the show was towards the middle of February, right? We got to the end of January, early February. My food changed again. Still 6 meals every single day. Meal 1 was now just 2 scoops of protein in cold water, of course, creatine, glutamine, aminos, and collagen, right? And that was my meal 1. Meal 2 was 10 egg whites. I actually kept my egg white higher at this point. So that's about 330 grams of egg whites, 1 apple, and 150 grams of red potatoes. All right. About meal 3, I did 300 grams of chicken and then with a big bowl of salad. And meal 4, I did 300 grams of fried fish, right, with 5 ounces of basmati rice and a bowl of salad. And then one of the things that before I went to the gym, I made make sure that I also ate as well. So I need that. So what I did is that I brought my protein down. Well, before I went to the gym, I made sure my carbs is higher. So what I did is 5 egg whites. I did 3 oranges, or 2 oranges and 1 apple, depends on what I wanted. And then I did a carnitine, and during the workout, I just drank BCAAs to help my, it's a branched amino acid. But I drank BCAAs, and after training, I drank a protein shake with glutamine. And then I did last meal, which is 250 grams of chicken, right? 1 fruit and 50 grams of salad. And that was my meal for that. And I just maintained this process for a very long time. I don't need to make changes to my body I don't need to make changes to my food if my body is changing, and my body was changing over time. And then doing Pick Week, as you can see on the video, I weighed myself, and the guy said in the background I was 211 pounds or something like that. I dropped that much weight without dropping my protein down, without dropping my fats down, and doing a Pick with the strategies to go with that. And I'm not going to bore you with the details when it comes to that, but this transformation itself, right, is what got me to this goal, which is my competition stage ready. And a lot of people think it is a short process. Yes, you can accomplish a lot of things within a short period of time, but it is actually a process that you need to enjoy, that you need to feel good throughout the entire process, right? And one last thing I want to add, or another thing I want to add, is that during this process, I only did 30 minutes of cardio on a daily basis. I increase my cardio as time goes along. Of course, the intensity of my training also increases as well, but I increased my cardio to 30 minutes max. And then I just did 5 days to 6 days of walking on the treadmill on an incline the entire process. And during this process, again, I was set locked in on the goal, and I make sure that I need to change my body so that I can look the absolute best on stage. So I hope this actually helps you guys. If you are looking for a way to get to whatever goal that you do have, and you're struggling to get to that goal, do not hesitate. Ask your question below. I am going to respond back to you guys and help you guys and give you guys whatever advice that you do need to help you get to that goal. And also as well, check out my Instagram, and I do give a lot of good information when it comes to transforming your body, and go subscribe to the channel as well.